recently made this jacket and it's super comfy and soft, so I'm gonna show you how I made the damn thing. Also, before we start, you should know that I've never made a video like this before, so my cinematography fucking sucks. I'm aware. So I made this jacket because Joanne, the one and only woman for me, was having a 20% off sale on yarn, so I got these 3 colors. Blue green, green, and void. Solid color scheme if I'm being honest. I also used a very well-loved 4.5mm hook. At first I couldn't decide what the fuck I wanted this thing to look like, but I needed a plan so I could fantasize about it before it was done. I knew that I wanted it to be color blocked because color blocked stuff fucks, and I needed to convey that I, as well, fuck. The plan was to have the body be made of 4 panels, with the front 2 decreasing at the top to make a v-neck. The left 2 body panels would be opposite color of the right 2, obviously, and the sleeves being the other way around, so I'd have the green sleeve on the blue-green body and vice versa. I also needed pockets, so I'd have the sleeves match the pockets and make them stand out. The void color was going to be for the ribbing, and with that I knew what I needed, which is 4 pieces in green, including the body panel, sleeve, and pocket, the same 4 in blue-green, and 6 pieces in void to make the sleeve cuffs, button band, and everything else. Let's fucking go. I started with the body panels because that's pretty fucking important, and it's easier to make the arms when you have a rib cage. I didn't use a tape measure because I didn't care enough, so I counted stitches instead. Each body panel was supposed to be 46 stitches across and 59 rows tall, half double crochet all the way up. However, there was a tiny roadblock. So a dye lot is the batch of color the yarn is dyed in, and if you get the same name color from 2 different dye lots, the yarn color can be a bit different sometimes. A tiny side effect of dye lots is that the dye lot can also change the weight of the yarn slightly. Not enough to change the label, but enough that if you're using 2 different colors of the same yarn line, the weight can be not the same, and your pieces won't match in gauge. I'm not speaking from experience, by the way. Moving on from that fun fact, the 2 back body panels were easy, just 59 rows of half double crochet, big rectangles. The front panels were the same, except I wanted them to decrease at the top to make a v-neck, but when do I start decreasing? So I wanted the v-neck to be about 1/3 of the jacket, so I divided 59 by 3, which gives you 19.666, a whole bunch of 6s. So I have 19 rows of decreases, which means subtract 19 from 59 gives you 40. So 40 rows of regular half double crochet first. Good shit. Do that twice, 1 panel for each color, and I move on to the sleeves. Also, my cat Squeak showed up to see what was going on. Moving on to the sleeves. Because I'm a fucking genius, the plan is to make the sleeve cuff and crochet directly into that to make the sleeve itself. To make the cuffs, I'd be making rows of half double crochet, but into the back loops only to make a fun ribbed texture and also stretchy. The sleeve cuff recipe is 8 stitches wide and 19 rows long. Cut yarn, switch to sleeve color. Crocheting directly into the side of a piece is pretty easy, just insert the hook where you want to start and chain to get going. The sleeves are 36 rows of 56 half double crochet. Some of you might be wondering why the hell I didn't make the sleeves in the round. That's because when you don't crochet in the round, you flip the fabric around to make the next row. When you crochet in the round, you don't do that, and you might have noticed that stitches don't look the same on the front and back side, so the fabric wouldn't be exactly the same as the body panels. And I didn't want that. The other thing is that when you crochet in the round, to start a new row, you have to chain a couple of times to make the top edge level and not round it off, but because you're going around and not flipping the fabric around, the seam will be going in a spiral. I said, ew, and sewed the straight and objectively better seam later. Then I made a second sleeve the same way, but with the other sleeve color, and I had 2 sleeves. Hell yeah, let's go. Now we make the pockets, which are objectively the most important features just after the sleeves. Pockets, super fucking easy. Just made tiny little rectangles, 1 in each color. 19 rows of 27 half double crochet. You might have noticed that I make the stitch into the back part of the chains. That's because it gives that bottom edge the very nice braided texture, like the top of a finished stitch, and I find it much easier to sew into because it helps keep the stitches lined up. It also just looks better. I recommend you try it. And now we sew the seams of all the pieces we've made so far into a jacket and admire it, while also lamenting that some of the panels don't line up perfectly because such is the nature of humanity. After I sewed the pieces together, I tried it on and found that, oh no, I'm a moron, and I made the decreases on the v-neck way too harsh. This is what it looked like, and then this is what I wanted. So I had to make more stitches to fix it. But making a separate piece of fabric would be such a pain to measure out, I would rather drink bleach. But I left that drinking problem behind me and just crocheted directly into the already made fabric so I didn't have to measure anything. But now I had another problem. There would be a really obvious seam there, and it would be super annoying. And then I had an epiphany. I had recently learned how to make those puff stitch flowers that were everywhere for about like a month because people made them into bags and rugs and stuff. So I'll just make a bunch of those and hide the seam with the flowers. I'm so smart. I fixed the neckline on both sides of the jacket like a fucking madman and reveled in the chemical satisfaction. Now that the bare bones jacket was finally satisfactory, I had to make the ribbing. The waist ribbing was going to be the same as the sleeve cuffs because consistency, so repeat the recipe. 8 stitches and make it as long as you need, which depends on how wide around you made the jacket. I didn't count how many rows I made because fuck that, but I cut it too soon and it wasn't long enough because I'm stupid and I didn't realize it was too short until I was almost done sewing the waist ribbing like a moron, so I had to stop sewing and continue the ribbing where it lay. Anyway, I fixed that problem and then I moved on to the button band, which is objectively the most fun, coming second place only to making the sleeves. I can't find the footage of me making the button band, so I think it's lost to the ether, but I'll explain my process and it's super easy, so don't worry, I got you. It's literally the same recipe for the waist ribbing and sleeve cuffs, except on a few select rows you'll chain 2 and skip the middle 2 stitches and make a hole. Easy as shit. And then I made a second piece that was the same sans the holes because the buttons have to be sewn onto something, damn it. Sew these 2 pieces onto the body, then sew the buttons on and you have a button band, baby! Hell yeah, this is luxury. Also, these are the buttons I'm using. They're very big and very plastic, don't match the color scheme that well, but it's what I have and they're charming. I don't know if it's possible to properly express just how relieved I was when the buttons actually fit through the buttonholes. Now, when I was making that button band with the holes in it, I had tested the buttons to be like, will they actually fit through there? And they did, but even so, there's still a bit of anxiety there. The jacket is now almost done. You have pockets, sleeves, ribbing, etc. You could wear this outside and be fine. Except for the neckline. We have to make the neckline ribbing and also the flowers. Remember those bitch ass little seams because I made the decreases too harsh? We gotta make the flowers to hide that. The neckline ribbing was a bit more complicated than the rest of the ribbing. Read, pain in the ass. But long story short, I made the neckline the same as the other ribbings. Except I was a little bit fancy and I made each end decrease into a little point so it'd sit on the button band nice and flush. Good shit. It also took me a couple of tries to get the neckline to sit flush against the body panels because I couldn't get the tension correct, but it's fine. I fixed it and it works. No need to worry. Also, drink break. The flowers are super fucking easy to make, and really fast too. It takes me approximately 3 minutes and 18 seconds to make one with no mistakes at normal speed. Yes, I timed it. I made 17 flowers, 2 of them in green, 2 in blue-green, and the rest in void. I also used this really pretty goldenrod color I had lying around for the flower centers. It was a bit thinner weight than the rest of the yarn, but it was fine, no big deal. The pattern for the flowers is fairly simple. 6 single crochets into a ring, switch colors, chain 2, puff stitch, chain 2, slip stitch into next stitch. Do that until you have 6 petals and then fasten off. Puff stitch flower done. And do this a million more times because while these things are cute and soft as shit, they're pretty fucking small too. Look at the jacket. It's so pretty. It's almost done. I was getting really excited at this point, but I needed to hold it in so I didn't rush the last bit. The flowers came out really nicely. I put 5 void flowers on either side of the neckline, 2 on the one pocket and the last void flower on the other pocket, and I put the 2 green flowers on the opposite sleeve, vice versa for the blue-green flowers. Now the jacket is almost done, and I'm fucking stoked. This thing looks so good. What the hell? Sewing the flowers took a while, but it went well with no major interruptions aside from my camera battery dying multiple times and the SD card getting full, but that's not relevant here. And then it was done. All of a sudden it was done. All the flowers were on and I could wear it. It looked great. It's super soft. It's oversized. The pockets work. Everything fucking works. Oh my god. The satisfaction when this thing was finally done. This jacket was really fun to make. And even though I really don't know what I'm doing when it comes to filming the process, I really enjoyed it anyways. If you are looking for a new crochet project, maybe this gives you some ideas for the next one. I hope it does. That'd be pretty cool. Also, I entered this jacket in a contest and I won 3rd place.